Hi there, everyone. Nice to see you all. I can't see you, but hey, you can see me. It's Mr. Drysdale. I'm here to talk about the music program at Eastwood. So, in this presentation, you're going to see a little bit about the curricular program within a grade 9 music class. You're going to see some stuff about our extracurricular program here at Eastwood. And we're also going to have a link or description at the very end on how you can find out more about auditioning for our integrated arts program. So we have three areas within this program. We're quite fortunate to have a strong program within strings, band, and vocal. And so we have options and opportunities in all three of those areas. And then there's another area that is not available until your grade 9 or 11 and 12, and that is the songwriting recording course. And that is offered in grade 11 and 12, which I'll talk about a little bit later. All right, on to our department. Here is an awesome group of individuals that I'm very happy to be working with, and I can't wait for you guys to work with them if you can. If you end up coming to Eastwood, then you'll have that opportunity at some point. So we all teach in different areas, not just music, but I'll just talk about the music ones for this. Ms. Helmer's on the left there, and she teaches instrumental music and conducts bands. Mr. Green is next to her and behind, and he teaches vocal music and choirs. And Miss Hunsberger Short, or Hunzi, is next over there at the front, and she teaches the string program. And then behind her, continuing over, is Mr. Watson, who teaches vocal music and the sound machine, a group of tenors and basses. And then on the very end is myself, Mr. Drysdale. I teach band class and conduct the bands as well after school. So it's a pandemic. What do we do? What do we do in a pandemic? Well, it's we decided to not run extracurricular virtual groups, but rather run extracurricular community opportunities. And that's been our big focus this year. So one thing we'll do is we'll offer weekly or bi-weekly workshops. We'll have a guest clinician come in and work with the students virtually. And the other thing that we've been working on for a fair bit since the fall just happened, and that's called The Screen Is Yours. And this is an event that is basically a virtual show that involves community. It builds community because we've got a lot of involvement, not just from the performers submitting videos, but our MCs that are running the show. You can see a great little 80s theme there. And then on the right-hand side of that screen, you're going to see a scrolling chat. And that's where we can get conversations going, not just with the students, but you'll see our staff was involved, and from the principal right on all the way down to the grade 9 students that we're all communicating through that venue while this is going on. And you can see what we're able to feature. Now, our focus has been on the classroom. So what we do is we take elements of our class and feature that, and then students were also invited to submit videos of their own, and those were selected afterwards. So the recording class was featured, solo performance, class solos, live ensembles. You can see this is our band class that we're not allowed to play wind instruments indoors or outdoors on property, so we became percussionists. And then our recording class, we were able to feature our class cover that we submitted to the CBC class cover competition. Yeah, the very cool part about that is what makes Eastwood so awesome, and that's that the entire arts program was represented that night. So there was artwork, dances, some drama work. There was a lot of representation from all sides, and it was a really great night. And so despite the fact we're in the middle of a pandemic, we were able to do something at least, which is a miracle, really. It's hard to get much done these days with our conditions, isn't it? You all know it. All right, so, oh yeah, and just real quick, there's some of the benefits of running this. We We provided a stage for our performers. We were able to build and maintain community. We raised $3,000 for the food bank, and we were also able to support our arts community by running 9 infomercial ads just to give them a shout out and how you can support. So it was a great night, a great event, and I just wanted to bring that up to say that we're doing what we can, and we have a great team of teachers and a phenomenal group of students here at the school that make things like that happen. All right, so what does it normally look like at Eastwood? It's a bit different, I would say. So just going to show you some shots, some samplings of the highlights. Like every day is not like that. This would be false advertising. Every day is like you're going to school and you go to class and you do your work and you do your homework and you follow the lessons. That's a typical day at Eastwood. But through those through a year, you're going to find many, many opportunities to have amazing moments. And one of them is our gala, and our music night is another one. And so we'll have a music night in the winter, and then we'll have another music night in the spring. And these are just some behind the scenes shots of that. We also have Eastwood Jazz Night, featuring our jazz groups and a bunch of vocalists that have been working with a professional. And we have our Floor is Yours, which the Screen is Yours came from. And the Floor is Yours is just an open stage venue, and it takes place in the strings and vocal room. We have festivals. We attend festivals every year. We'll do regionals every year, and nationals we try to go every other year. Sometimes we've gone twice in a row, but it's a big hog on the whole system. Because when we go to nationals, that's like nearly 200 students all on buses away from the school for 4 days. So we try not to overextend the school system, but we'll do that every other year at least anyway. And we're looking forward to going to nationals next year if we're able to, because of the pandemic. So there's a shot of Jazz Festival at Humber College. And we have guest clinicians come into the school and work with our groups as well. So kind of like our virtual thing, except when it's a normal year, we'll do it live. And there's a shot of us working on our musical production titled Pajama Game, which unfortunately didn't happen, but it was kind of fun. It was a lot of work, but it was kind of fun to actually get as far as we did with it. And last but not least, we do have end-of-year celebrations that allows us to all come together, all areas of the art world in the integrated arts program especially. We get to have an arts banquet and celebrate the year together. All right, so now we're on to the curricular program. I'm just going to touch base on what you'd be doing in a grade 9 class and what grade 9 offerings there are. So we have instrumental, strings, and vocal, like I said earlier. And you'll notice that in the code, these are the grade 9 codes, that I stands for instrumental, S stands for strings, V for vocal. And just a note about the strings class is that you'd be playing violin, viola, cello, or double bass. Those are the only stringed instruments you'd be playing, just so we're clear, because some people have come in thinking they're playing guitar, but it's a little different than that. And for band, you can see the type of instruments that would be involved in a band class. And I don't think I need to show you pictures of what you'd be expecting in a singing class. But there you go. Now we have different levels because there's a lot of people that come with a variety of different backgrounds before they hit grade 9. So we're trying to address all of those different levels of experience on instruments, starting with beginner. So when you see an X in the code, that just stands for the very beginning. So you're learning how to read music. You're learning how to make a sound with your instrument, whether it's a clarinet or a viola. And you're starting from that point. So you need 0 experience in order to join the beginner class. So that would be a great option if you've always wanted to play something but never had the opportunity to. It's also a good course if you didn't get very much experience with your instrument because of the pandemic. So if you feel that you need to start over again, just to get a refresher, then maybe that's a good choice for you just because of the pandemic. We don't know. For experienced, This is the class where if you've got grade 7, if you were able to get a good chunk of time on music in grade 7, say for semester 1, and you're quite comfortable with your experience you had then this might be a good class for you. Another thing is you might have had options to play an instrument, strings or instrumental. You're able to play at home, like through the pandemic. If you're able to do that, maybe even have private lessons, the experience class would be the one for you to take. Okay. And notice that vocal appears for experienced and not beginner. That's because we don't need to train you to make a sound with your voice, because you'll already be able to do that. And we don't need to run a beginner class for vocal. Now, the enriched development, here's for people who are auditioning. And the previous two things that I talked about are for people who are auditioning, but maybe they want to minor in another area of the arts. Those are still open for you. But if you're auditioning to get into the Eastwood Music program, you have several different options here. One option is the enriched development. So this is if you do not go to Eastwood, you don't live in the area, and you went to a school that offers a band program, but just did not get enough experience because of the pandemic to play your instrument. You still have to choose that instrument, whatever one you were introduced to in grade 7, and maybe even are playing it a little bit this year. You choose that instrument and you audition on it, except the expectations are very, very different. Okay, so read the development instructions or watch the development video on the auditions page if you're at all feeling that you're in that position. Okay, so that's enriched development, and that's offered for strings and band. Now, finally, last but not least, the enriched level is for students that are ready, that can handle the audition requirements that are listed under strings auditions, instrumental auditions, and vocal auditions. So there's a series of requirements for each one of those areas. And if you feel that you can have those prepared by the time the videos are due by January 19th, then you can go ahead and just go for the enriched program. Otherwise, put some thought into the enriched development. So if you have any questions about that, because it's a little different this year, you can always email the school, contact Arlene Thomas, who's our registrar, or contact me. And my email is in different places on the website as well. All right, so what do we do in grade 9 music? Well, it's performance-based in 3 different areas in all of our disciplines, in strings, vocal, and instrumental. So we have full class, and we focus on musical mastery and performance in all of these, as well as creativity and collaboration, where we have a full class performance rehearsal, where we select a piece of music and work on it as a class. And then we have small ensemble, which is interesting because it's more student directed than teacher directed, where we group into duets, trios, and maybe a bit more. And then finally, there's the individual performance requirements as well. And that's an individualized approach. So there's a lot of performance activities that happen in class, and that's the basic format of each one of the areas. And then we just plug in a lot of these other little bits, including effective, healthy technique with playing scales, or singing with solfege, singing exercises, vocal warm-ups, instrumental warm-ups. And then we also do some theory and composition, and we have some discussions about music and society. So that's basically what a typical grade 9 class might look like. Now, after grade 9, we have instrumental, strings, vocal options all the way through to the very end until grade 12. There's a little star beside that 12 because you just need to know that our music options are university recognized. So like when you graduate, some of you might want to go to university, and in order to qualify for university, you need 6 grade 12 university or university/college level courses in order to qualify for university, and music does count, and that's what that star is for. The other program that we have that starts in grade 11, like I said before, is the songwriting recording class, where we focus on making music from beats to melody to bass lines to song structure and form. And we listen to music and talk about music and how it's made and how it impacts society. And then we record it and learn how to record the music. And we have this great facility as well with a computer lab equipped with FL Studios, and then the studio itself equipped with professional level gear as well as Logic Pro and a Mac. And we have a lot of fun in there. So our extracurricular groups are what you would normally find in a place like this. We have a junior jazz group. Our junior groups are all made up of grade 9s and 10s, and that's strings, instrumental, jazz. Junior means grade 9 and 10. Senior means grade 9 and 11, with exceptions. There's always exceptions to the rule. Like, could be a talented grade 9 will be in the senior groups just because they want the extra challenge. And you might have the odd senior in a junior group because they want to learn a new instrument. So it really depends on the situation. But generally speaking, juniors means grade 9 and 10, seniors grade 11 and 12. So we have junior jazz. We have senior jazz. We have junior band, junior concert winds. We have senior band, senior concert band. There's our junior strings. There's our chamber strings. That's our senior group. There's our fiddle group, which deserves another explanation because this group here is made up of a variety of different instruments, mostly fiddle and strings, and it's run by Hunzi, and it focuses on Celtic music. And they probably get fiddle and chamber choir probably get most of our gigs. Gig is when you get invited to play for an organization for an event or something like that. All right, now here's our concert choir. This is made up of everyone who wants to sing. That's basically the rule. Okay, so concert choir is open for everybody who would like to sing. Sound machine is meant for tenors and basses, and as I said, Mr. Watson conducts that group. Treble choir, treble chorus. This is all the sopranos and altos. Here's our chamber choir, which is our only auditioned vocal group. And they've had a lot of notoriety over the years. And just last year, they performed for CBC Sounds of the Season, a little under a year ago from this video, or from the recording of this video. And a little bit more than a year ago, they were at the Center in the Square performing alongside the Chieftains for their 57th anniversary tour. We have our auditioned symphony orchestra, which is also a musical pit orchestra when we do a musical. So on the year of a musical, the first half of the year will be orchestra, the second half it'll switch to pit. And when we don't do a musical, we'll focus on orchestra the entire year, with the festival being the focus in the spring. And last but not least, we of course have our student-led ensembles, which is a feature to the program too. It's a crazy busy place in Musicland, and just in the program as a whole because of all the extracurriculars, but we do what we can to facilitate a student leader who has drive and passion to create something of their own. So we have a flute choir there, we have a jazz orchestra as well, and a string quartet, and then a group of vocalists combined with dancers who decided to work together to audition for our big gala, which happens in the beginning of winter at the end of November, kind of like what we just missed out on, unfortunately. We didn't get to do that this year, but Screen is Yours was the next best thing, I suppose, right? And that concludes this presentation. I hope you learned enough about the program. I wasn't able to cover everything, but I'm hoping that I was able to cover enough to give you a good idea of what to expect. And also, if you are interested in auditioning, it's really important that you go to the link that's listed there. That's eci.wrdsb.ca/arts. and that will take you to all of the audition information for the programs that I talked about in this video. And last but not least, we've got this little slide that shows you a couple of things that I forgot to mention. One is that we have an Eastwood Music Department website, which is usually up to date in terms of current events, but it's not really meant for current events. We have social media for that, which I don't have on this video, unfortunately. But we do have on that website, you're going to find out everything that I just talked about. You're going to find out about what programs we have to offer, what the class descriptions are like, and also a little bit about each one of the staff members that I introduced earlier on. So if you want to find out more, feel free to go to that website. Otherwise, I think that's it. I wish you all health and happiness, especially as we approach the holiday season, and I hope you get a good break. And if you have any questions at all about audition information or about the programs that you heard, feel free to contact the school, and you can do that through clicking on those links that I have listed. Take care, everyone. Goodbye.